Welcome to Chamber Chat. This is John Tayer, and this is our bi-weekly opportunity to have a conversation with our Boulder business community and our Boulder Chamber membership about all of the things that we're doing at the Boulder Chamber to support your business and lift the economy. But it's also our chance to chat with some of the local leaders in addressing the challenges that we're facing in the COVID situation and just in our economy overall. And today we have a great guest who we're going to have a conversation with. He's the Director of Housing and Human Services, Kurt Firnhaber. So I really look forward to our conversation. But before we do, I want to have a time to just give you a little update on some of the activities that are happening here at the Boulder Chamber. So first of all, we have our cross-industry business support sessions in collaboration with Boulder County Public Health. And those will be going on now through September 9, every Wednesday. And these are our opportunity, along with our other Boulder County business development and support partners, to help update all of you on any changes in the business orders around the COVID situation, to consider how we respond to them as businesses to make sure that you can continue to thrive during this period, and to share best practices. So I want to make sure you're paying attention. They're every Wednesday. They're definitely worth checking out and register online just to make sure you have your spot set. And as ever, you can always get information on these sessions as well as other support services through our Boulder Chamber website, boulderchamber.com/COVID-19. And know that we are going to continue to keep that site updated with all the most relevant information to support you, your business, and your workforce. And then, in the celebration vein, we have one of our most beloved events. It's our 25th anniversary Women Who Light the Community Awards event, brought to you by Corden Pharma and Premier Members Credit Union. And that's going to be on September 24th. So make sure to mark your calendar. As ever, we are going to be celebrating some terrific women leaders who inspire us through their actions and their service to our community. Yes, this is going to be unusual circumstances, but I can tell you that this is going to be something that's going to inspire you. So make sure to have that event on your calendar, September 24. That is the 25th anniversary of our Women Who Light the Community event. Look forward to seeing you there, and make sure to check out the details as we get them to you online. And then finally, want to make sure all of us are filling out our census. So important that we get 100% completion here in our community, because that's a tie to making sure that we get our critical federal resources. So the Boulder Chamber is going to help inspire you to fill that out, whether it's online or over the phone. We have an incentive that if you fill out that form and send us proof of it by September 9, you'll be registered for a free entrepreneur level membership. So if you needed any other excuse, get in there for this contest for a free membership. But really, most importantly, we want to make sure that you're filling out your census form. So please do that for your community and for all the important services that we get supported through federal funding. So now it's my chance to start our conversation with my good friend, Kurt Firnhaber. As I said, he's the Director of the Housing and Human Services at the City of Boulder. And he's been in that position for quite some time, having initially come to the City of Boulder as the Deputy Director for Housing in 2016. And before that, he had an extensive career in housing services, both here in the United States and in South Africa. I knew Kurt first when he was the person who started the affiliate here, or ran the affiliate here, for Habitat for Humanity in Boulder County. And in particular, he was responsible for that wonderful project in North Boulder, the Poplar housing project that they did with our Affordable Housing Authority. But also then he moved to to South Africa to take on, I would say, exceptional challenges there in housing. But also he led an organization that was responsible for helping to make sure that folks had access to HIV services and to automate the pharmacy system in South Africa. Very important work. But he and his family decided to move back to Boulder, took on responsibilities here in our community, and we're so lucky to have him. And especially during what is a very difficult time, and as we know, in many cases, unprecedented. So I'm just going to ask you, Kurt, just to kick things off, wondering just from the housing demand perspective, what impact is the COVID-19 situation having on the ability and need that families and individuals have for affordable housing in our community?
Yeah, so thanks, John. And I'm glad to be here with you and your business partners. Thanks for inviting me. So so COVID has had impacts on all sorts of things within our work. Housing is certainly one of them. What we've noticed, what we noticed in that first month, at least, or first 5 or 6 weeks, is it was very difficult to get people into housing. In-person meetings, weren't taking place. People weren't showing apartments, and we had to figure out how we were going to work differently. For the affordable housing providers, that was a challenge at the beginning, but they did figure that out. And what we noticed on projects like CECLO in the Boulder Junction area where Sutherland's used to be, that was completed, during COVID. We started leasing up at about the same time. But once those things were figured out, it actually leased up very quickly. And so what that told us is that there continues to be a strong need for affordable housing. It's also impacting lots of folks who have lost their jobs or been furloughed. And so we've had to put a lot of supports in place to assist those types of households, many of which are not in affordable housing, they're in market housing. So we're continuing to track that and try to support individuals and households within our community.
Well, that's so important. And let me ask you this then, seeing the continued demand, what sort of services are available for families and individuals in accessing housing, and then maybe assistance that you provide through your programs or others in the community on paying rent or making sure they can cover their mortgages?
Sure. So one of the things that we started doing more intensively when COVID started is working more directly and regularly with Boulder County, with the City of Longmont, with our regional partners, and organizations that are doing the heavy lifting within the community, organizations like ALPHA as an example. And we began meeting on a weekly basis with the funding collaborative to make sure that the funding was coordinated within the community, within the foundation, and others that are giving supports to ensure that we're actually supporting where the community needs it and that there aren't holes that aren't being supported. So initially, from a housing support standpoint, one of the first things we did with Boulder County is set up a housing helpline. People just didn't know, where do I go? And so a housing helpline has been set up, and I'll give you that number. It's 303-441-1206. And you can call that number and get connected to any amount of different services depending on your needs within the community. So it could be rent assistance, it could be food assistance, supports on, how is child care working right now? Could be mental health assistance. So it's the one line you can go where you can get directed to the right community partner to help you. that's made a huge difference. We saw a real spike in the use of that line in the first month. If I recall, we were getting 400 or 500 calls a week. That's down significantly now that things have normalized a little bit more. And we've really focused on using the supports that are out there. So the unemployment insurance, really encouraging people to use that to pay their rent. We've also given additional funds as the city to programs like EFA to really increase the amount of support that they have for rental assistance. We're also adding on assistance for utility payments as well. And we don't want people's water to be shut off. So we're working closely with the partners to ensure that these programs are really being run effectively and in a timely manner. People are under a lot of stress right now if you have lost their job. And so we really want to act quickly to make sure that they can stay secure in their housing.
That is so critical. I mean, I know that those who may not right now feel stable, it's just wonderful to know that these support services are there if and when they need them. But it's also impressive how your teams responded to this challenge. Well, taking a look at then maybe the other side of the housing equation, and those are folks in our community who are unhoused and not in a stable housing situation. And just, I notice as a casual observer, Kurt, it just seems to me that our homeless population has been on the rise. And I'm wondering, you, as somebody who works in this space, are you seeing the same increase as well? And wondering if so, what are the causes of that situation?
Sure. So we do hear that every year about this time. Wasn't it worse than last year? We do have an influx of homeless residents who come to the City of Boulder, particularly during the warmer weather, and then they start to leave when winter comes. It's sort of a natural migration that happens every year. I would agree with you that this year is different, and it's the numbers are higher this year than we've seen in other years. The other thing that we've observed, and we keep data. Have a good data system around our homeless services, but we've also noticed that there's a higher percentage of individuals that are from out of town or outside of the county. So it's somewhere between 75 and 80% of the people here, at least going through coordinated entry, have often been here for less than a month or two. And that creates challenges for our community. I would like to, however, highlight a lot of the success we've had with our homeless services. And we presented the City Council in July. We continue to get a number of individuals who have been homeless in our community housed. And many of those individuals have been homeless for many years in Boulder. However, the frustrating thing that for me and what I see, we've had a lot of success around our programs, but it doesn't look any different on the streets. So we've had great success with those who have been part of our community for a long time. Those who are passing through our community, those numbers have gone up. And so for the average person walking on the street, it's hard for them to get a feel for the positive impact that we've had. So what we're doing about that.
Can I maybe just
sure.
Chime in and say, you know, this is both a humanitarian issue you're mentioning, and I think you're alluding to this. It's also a concern for resident safety and for many of our businesses from some of the unhoused population who are exhibiting poor behavior.
Sure.
And so I just wondered, you know, just again, I think you were about to get into it, but let me just hit it and say, you know, what are the solutions that you're looking at, you're implementing, and in that vein, what is the right balance to strike between addressing some of these poor behaviors through law enforcement and otherwise being able to address it through social service programs.
Sure. So some of the things that we've done during COVID, because some of these impacts are directly related to the impacts of COVID. So on the 20th of March, we started a COVID recovery center. We're going to continue that through next spring. And on a daily basis, every homeless individual in Boulder County who goes for services goes through a screening process to see if they have COVID symptoms. And they would be then transported that day to the COVID recovery center, where they'll stay for anywhere from 5 days to 2 weeks. That's really helped prevent the spread of COVID through our homeless community. So that's a real success. We've also opened up additional bathrooms in the community. More people are staying on the street during the day because things like the library are closed or other public facilities. So your question about how do we balance services with law enforcement. So one of the things we're doing to balance that, we're starting a new program in September called Be There. It will be a group of 3 individuals that will have mental health support, a person with homeless lived experience, and someone who understands our services well, to be spending more time on the streets, talking with individuals, making them aware of services, but also making them aware of the expectations in the city of Boulder. One of the expectations is it's illegal to camp here. Another expectation is you need to wear a mask when you're in the public or around people when you're close to them. We also, pass out water and that sort of thing, but also educating them on what services we have, and that we also have limited services. So coming winter, this year we're going to have a limited number of beds. People are going to have to make a plan about, where they want to be and what community they want to be in. For the health and safety of those individuals, it's important that we have a strong communication plan. But I would say that there's the strategies and services that we have in place for the homeless don't work unless we also enforce the camping ban. The reason is there's an expectation that if you're here, you're going to engage with services. If you're not, there's not much we can do to assist you. And so we can't have the challenges of disrupting the community with health and safety issues. It's a challenge for our police department as well. We can't enforce our way out of homelessness, but balancing health and safety with services is really where we want to be.
Gotcha. I totally get it. I mean, this is a conundrum, not just for the city of Boulder. It's a national challenge. And
right.
I know that here we've investigated a number of solutions, and I just have great confidence in your leadership. And I will say this, that I didn't say it at the outfront, but we are so fortunate to have someone with your wealth of experience, but also I just have to say compassion, and somebody who approaches these issues with a heart, but also great logic. And so I thank you, Kurt, for your service and work on both these housing issues as well as the unhoused, the needs of the unhoused in our community. So thank you so much for being with us, Kurt, and I'm sure we'll be in touch. Take care.
Okay, very good.
And then to our chamber chat audience, I just want to close by making sure you know that here at the Boulder Chamber, business is happening safely. So that means we are available here to serve and meet your interests. Any issue you have, please be in touch with us. We are available and want to address your needs during this challenging period. So I look forward to being in touch. We also, as I said, will be providing a great deal of information through our website, boulderchamber.com/COVID-19, and through those weekly information webinars that we're doing in collaboration with Boulder County Public Health and all of our Boulder County economic development partners and chambers. So make sure to check those out online. But the most important thing we can all do, as I've said before, let's suppress this virus. Let's keep it down so that we can do business. And how can we do that? Well, the first thing you can do, and I always remind you, is make sure to wear your mask when you're around town, when you're going into businesses. And with the CU students in town, we want to set the right example. Let's protect our herd. Wear your mask, and I'll see you next time on Chamber Chat.